Today I'm here with Dr. Fuhrman, 7X New York Times best-selling author, has a pretty awesome wellness retreat, I hear, in California, former competitive athlete at the highest tier, and just overall, just an amazing guy, has his daughter with him doing podcasts and really helping people become healthier, lose weight, and strive for this longevity. I mean, he's actually not 45 years old. He's older, but you can tell that he's not only just talking about this lifestyle, but he's actually living it. So Dr. Furman, really, it's a big honor to have you today on this podcast.
Thank you. Looking forward to our talk today.
But I remember when you said something along the lines of every single meal counts, like everything counts. The margin of error is so small. And to me, I just thought, like, you completely defied the idea of even a cheat meal. Like when you said it, like your standard of excellence when it comes to clean eating as a medical doctor, as someone who studies longevity nutrition, was so high that even one meal, you looked at it as even one slip up can really damage you. I would just love to hear you talk about that a little bit more, because that just stuck to me,
Well, one of the things I sometimes say is, why would I engage in self-destructive behaviors? My existence is to function in my own best interest, do what's best for myself. Why would I do something that's going to damage myself? And I say, you couldn't get 10 men to hold me down and to shove that crap into my body. I'd be fighting them. They would, you need 10 people to force it into me. Why would I do it? For what reason? For an instantaneous thrill of you're eating something for 30 seconds or 15 seconds, and then I can eat just as many healthy things that taste just as good anyway. Why would I do that? But the point is that when you're a food addict, like most people have been raised on addictive substances, and white flour is a sugar equivalent, and bagels and pizzas and burgers and croissants and chocolate chip cookies at the airport, the smells of the cooking and baking flours and sugar. Flour goes into your bloodstream as sugar, and your body can't convert it to energy without utilizing cofactors like vitamins and minerals and producing free radicals. So it strips the body of nutrients, ages you rapidly, doesn't supply the nutrients that can diffuse the production of inflammatory agents in the processing, and then leaves you lethargic because it's not converted efficiently to energy. So wanting you to eat more food. And your lifetime exposure to these foods. I say to a person, you're overweight, you have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, you sometimes have diabetes. Why would you sabotage yourself? Why would you shorten your lifespan with every bite? So yes, every meal counts, every mouthful counts, every day counts to getting you well. And also, when you're addicted to these substances, in other words, they light up the brain. I call it the caloric rush. How many calories you can get into the bloodstream quickly, all at one time. Because when you eat, let's say, beans or nuts or vegetables, the calories enter the bloodstream slowly over many hours. When you eat sugar or white flour or honey or maple syrup, the calories go into the bloodstream, or oil or olive oil or canola oil. The calories go into the bloodstream immediately, almost instantaneously, within 5 minutes. Say from the lips to the hips, in 5 minutes flat.
Well, Dr. Furman, have you heard of it's called Grail, Galleria? They do a blood test where they could test, let's say, like 50 varieties of cancer. Yeah. And the premise is based on early detection. There's also something coming out. It's called the Smart Toilet, where essentially they on a regular basis will examine your urine and your stool, and then they can give that information to your medical team. What do you think? Yeah, please.
Let me address that, okay?
Yeah.
We already know how to stop people from getting breast cancer and prostate cancer. And my nutritarian diet is designed that if it was adopted by society, there'd be no more breast cancer and prostate cancer. People start eating greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, a diet based of these natural plants. We'd wipe out cancer. And cancer didn't occur thousands of years ago. And the first cancers that were in any recorded number in medical history were scrotal and testicular cancers in men who were up to chimney sweeps in Europe, because they were exposed to smoke. but there was no breast. And so we're talking about, it's a paper tiger. In other words, you can get rid of cancer just by eating healthy. So we have these tests now, and they're going to become more available, and better testing is going to be available in the future. And we're going to find out that 70% of the adult population has cancer. So in other words, 10 years before a mammogram, let's just be more clear here, that 10 to 15 years before a mammogram could show a mass of breast cancer, we're going to be able to identify cancer cells in a person's blood. And then when that happens and all people get these tests available, we're going to identify all adults have cancer in their body, everybody. And all adults have heart disease. They all have atherosclerotic plaque in their blood vessels too. They're all sick because they eat the same way. So every person eating a standard American diet and every person eating a standard European diet with all the bread and cheese and meats and fried and oils are all going to have cancer markers and heart disease and stroke markers. So you're suggesting that we all have the breasts cut off? They all have the ovaries taken out? They all have the prostates removed? How about the whole population take out all the breasts and ovaries and prostates? Everyone pull out their organs because they all have cancer. You know, I'm suggesting we don't need those tests. You know, if you eat the American diet, you're going to get cancer. Everybody gets cancer if they eat the American diet. It's, you know, it's a saying, like I give lectures to physicians and I say to them, have you been shot by a bullet, or anybody in your immediate family or close neighbors been shot by a bullet or stabbed by a knife? And nobody raises their hand. And the whole 500 people in the audience, nobody raises their hand. And I say, well, how about anybody who has cancer or a heart attack in your immediate family or close neighbors or close friends? And everybody raises their hand. And I say, you want to stay living in that dangerous neighborhood? You don't want to escape? You're going to stay living in a where everybody else around you is getting cancer? What good is it? Who cares if we have a test that can identify cancer? Everybody has cancer, is going to get cancer. And everybody over the age of 65 already has cancer. It's just not going to kill them. Most people, men with prostate cancer, die of heart disease. So whether you can identify it with a test or not, it still boils down to, we know how to stop cancer in its tracks. We know how to prevent cancer right now, but people don't want to do it. So the bottom line is we have to start educating our population. It has to be reading, writing, arithmetic, and nutritional science taught in grade school. We have to get this message out. The data has been collected. We have all the studies. We know that we have processed foods, we have commercial baked goods, we have oils, we have animal products, and we have produce. And the modern world is not eating sufficient produce. So we have a cancer epidemic of incredibly tremendous proportion. And so we're going to detect more of it. Big deal. So that's going to add people get more medical care, more doctor visits, get more chemotherapy, get more surgeries. What are you going to do in response to all that knowledge that everybody has cancer? Who cares? We know it now, they all have cancer. Just going to scare a lot of people. You know, we don't even need the testing. We need the implementation of nutritional excellence so people don't get cancer to begin with. You know, it reminds me of the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association says people who have heart disease shouldn't eat more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day.
Right.
And I'm saying, how stupid is that?
Yeah.
That's like saying people who get lung cancer should cut back on cigarettes or should stop smoking. We don't wait till people get lung cancer to tell them to stop smoking. It's too late. You want them never to start to begin with. If it's helpful for people with heart disease to be on a lower salt diet, then it would have been helpful for them never to develop heart disease to begin with and not to have the salts through their whole lifestyle. It's your lifetime exposure to the high salt intake that determines your stroke risk. The lifetime exposure to these foods. It's not your exposure in the last 10 years of your life after you've been developed sicknesses.
What do you think someone asked a question in the chat, John Anderson asked, so just fruits and vegetables, correct? Or what would you say to that? I mean, if someone were to ask you,
fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans and nuts and seeds and mushrooms and those, so we're talking about all natural whole plant foods that exist on the planet that we're a green vegetable dependent animal. And about half of our diet should be vegetables, 30 to 50% of our diet should be vegetables. I mean, we're a vegetable dependent animal. And we know from scientific studies that the more vegetables consumed, the lower the rate of cancer and lower rate of heart disease and lower rate of strokes. So we're saying here that green vegetables have no threshold effect. With regard to mushrooms, mushrooms are very protective against cancer. But once you hit a threshold of a certain amount, like a third of a cup, taking 2 cups is not going to give you more benefit than having a half a cup. Same thing with onions and scallions. They're so protective against cancer. But once you pass half a cup, going to 1 cup or 2 cups doesn't give them more protection. Just a half a cup of onions is giving you maximum protection. But not with regard to green vegetables, with regard to broccoli and Brussels sprouts and lettuce and kale and bok choy and these vegetables. As you go from 1 cup to 2 cups to 3 cups to 4 cups, you show more protection and increases in longevity. And healthy centenarians, people are healthy to 100, push that envelope of you and longevity with higher intake of vegetables in the diet. Now, you need variety in the diet too. And the highest protein plant foods are not fruit. They're not fruit. Fruit's the low protein plant food. The high protein plant foods are everything but fruit. They are, nuts, seeds, beans, vegetables, and whole grains. Those have adequate protein. Then the more you dilute your diet with sugar and oil and processed foods, the more you lower the protein of your diet. But when you're eating whole foods, even plants have enough protein in them. Not if you're eating white bread and white flour and oil over your food. Those are plant foods that don't have protein in them. But a diet made up largely of fruit alone wouldn't give enough protein for toddlers and the elderly, maybe for middle-aged people. But still, we need to eat a diet. And all these studies that have come out in the last few years have shown that more animal protein in the diet leads to shorter lifespans, particularly higher risk of cardiovascular death, and more plant protein in the diet leads to longer lifespan and lower rates of cardiovascular death and all-cause mortality. So we have a combination. We have 3 types of food: produce, animal products, and processed foods. And both animal products and processed foods are don't have a large nutritional load in them. They don't contain phytochemicals and antioxidants. They have very low levels of most, the broad spectrum of nutrients humans need. But they're also hormonally unfavorable because the processed carbohydrates push up insulin too high. The oils push up that caloric rush in the bloodstream too high and are addicting and make it fattening. And the animal products push up IGF-1 because of their support the growth of a certain type of bacteria in the gut, produce pro-inflammatory substances from bacterial growth, such as TMAO or trimethylamine oxide and other pro-inflammatory substances. So we're looking to reduce animal protein, reduce processed foods, and increase the number of unrefined plant foods. And that's the message our population has to learn through their entire schooling and educational process. So we're going to change the impact cancer rates, not more testing to show everybody has cancer.
And you look at your BMI, or you look at your body fat percentage. Would you look at those metrics?
Of course.
What would you say? What would you say is the perfect for a man, an adult man, for example?
I don't know. I teach. Let me tell you what I teach. I teach that, but I don't think it's perfect. What I teach is not perfect. I tell people women's body fat to be healthy should be below 25%, and males should be below 15% body fat. But that's not perfect. My body fat's 10%. I'm telling him 15%.
That's pretty good. Yeah, mine's like 12.7.
I'm 69, and my body fat's is 10%, right?
That's incredible, man.
No,
69.
Yeah, so I've got muscle, and I can lift a lot of weight and do a lot of chins and do a lot of push-ups and and jump up on boxes, and I do mogul skiing, and I'm active singles tennis, and I'm physically fit and active. But I don't know if getting your body fat and muscle as thin as me is absolutely necessary. So maybe 12, 13%, but I tell people 15% because everybody's body fat is above 15. Everybody's body fat is so high anyway. So I think 15% for a male and 25% for a female is a good enough number to shoot for, because that already classifies 90% of Americans as being overweight. Well, not more than that, because they use a BMI of 25 as the demarcation line, the American health authorities, and all long-lived societies have BMIs below 23, and the optimal BMI for a male is below 22, and for a female is below 21, if you look at centenarian studies. So
what's your BMI, if you don't mind me?
I don't know. I'm 145 pounds at 5'9". I don't know. I could figure it out.
So you think 22 is the BMI to like the best anti-cancer? The BMI would be 22.
Probably for a male between 20 and 22, and for a female between 19 and 21. It's not just one BMI, it's a range. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And then body fat, at least optimal would be 12, 13% for a man.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you do intermittent fasting?
Well, I recommend and do what's called not intermittent fasting, but time-restricted eating, which means that the most important component of intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating that extends human lifespan, and the most proven component that extends human lifespan, is going to bed, going to sleep at night when you're not on a full stomach, on an empty stomach, making sure your digestion has finished for the day when you go to sleep at night. So when you're sleeping for 8 hours in bed, you have an empty stomach so you can maximally heal and regenerate tissue so you're not digesting and regenerating at the same time, because digestion inhibits repair, and shouldn't be sleeping with food in your stomach. So eating a lighter and earlier dinner so you can digest the meal before you go to sleep at night is the key to a longer lifespan. So yes, it's a form of intermittent fasting. You don't eat late at night. And in Europe, everybody eats late at night and goes to bed on a full stomach. That is not lifespan favorable. You want to stack your calories earlier in the day. You want to quit eating for the day. Quit eating at 6 o'clock, brush your teeth, clean the kitchen, shut down the restaurant, and recreate and have fun between 6 and 10 o'clock at night before you go to bed with social and recreational and activities and entertainment, not with food. You stay away from food the last 4 hours before you go to bed, and go to bed on an empty stomach. That's critical to a longer and healthier life.
Oh yeah, one more question from Sophia.
Okay.
Yeah, one more question. And
Okay.
thank you. We went a lot longer than we said we would, so thank you. This is from Sophia. She asked about cheese. What are your thoughts on cheese and dairy in general?
Well, dairy generally raises IGF-1 even more than poultry and meat and fish does. And that's why the countries with the highest consumption of dairy usually have the most breast cancer and prostate cancer, for that matter. So I think that dairy might be a little worse, but whole milk and raw milk and milk products are more cancer-causing than yogurt and cheese are even. So I think so milk is particularly cancer promoting because it raises hormones that are growth promoting, that accelerate growth in a cow. We're not meant to be eating cow's milk in adulthood. So I'm saying I just simplify it, make this really simple. Eat less of all types of animal products, even less seafood, which is considered to be a health food because we polluted our seafood. Eat less of all animal products and eat more, as you said earlier, clean, organically grown, whole plant foods, and make that, because those are the foods most linked to longevity and are the cleanest. But hopefully we'll move people in the right direction here.
And if people want to get your book, it's on drfuhrman.com or Amazon.
Yeah, drfuhrman.com is the best place to get more information. They can buy books on Amazon, probably, and buy, but all my stuff is on Amazon, and I have many different books on many different subjects. But I think they could start by going to the website and looking around and reading more and trying to learn more about this.
All right. And if they want to join your retreat, how is that just from your website as well, Dr.?
Yeah, the website has a retreat tab, and it has an events tab, and it has so there's a lot of things they can avail, information they can, and even if they want to communicate with me and get my advice as to the medical condition, they can do that through the website too.
All right. And what's your Instagram? Just for the people.
Oh shoot, I don't even know. I'm sorry, I don't know.
I know it as Dr. Fuhrman. I know, but I don't want to,
Do you know my Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I follow you.
Oh, what is it? Because my daughter takes care of that. What's the Instagram?
All right. You know what? We can put it on the YouTube, for example. We can make sure it's on YouTube. Dr. Fuhrman, hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I really respect how you save people's lives and stuff like that. So thank you very much for sharing your expertise today. And I hope you have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.